Most people believe they make their own choices, but rarely ask who or what is doing the choosing. There's a strange feeling that comes over you when you catch yourself acting out a role you didn't choose. The moment you hear your own voice echo your parents' words, the moment you realize you've become the helper in every relationship, or the fighter, or the ghost, you pause. You ask, why do I keep doing this? Why do I love certain characters in films and hate others who remind me of myself? We spend our lives thinking we are free, when in truth we are often living out scripts written long ago, not by society or parents or religion alone, but by something older, something archetypal. But here's the twist. We think our behavior is based on logic, values, personality, but much of it flows from ancient forces embedded deep in the subconscious mind, recurring psychological blueprints that Carl Jung called archetypes. They're not just patterns. They are roles, characters, myths, and they live inside you, and whether you know their names or not. In this deep dive episode titled How Jungian Archetypes Shape Your Life, we explore the hidden world of Jungian archetypes, uncovering how these powerful psychological patterns affect everything from your relationships and career to your sense of identity, your emotions, and even your dreams. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're deeply rooted in Carl Jung's psychology, and they influence real-life behavior, choices, and even the roles we attract or resist. You'll learn how to identify your dominant archetype, understand your hidden personality traits, and begin a self-discovery journey that could transform your emotional life, mindset, and purpose. This is about emotional intelligence, about identity, about reclaiming the narrative of who you are. This is not just a documentary, it's a mirror, one that reflects not just your conscious self, but the deeper forces you forgot to question. We won't be traveling the world. Instead, we'll walk through the internal landscapes that shape your beliefs, behaviors, and emotional reactions. From shadow work and self-awareness to archetypes in pop culture, marketing, and literature, you'll see how these patterns are all around you and within you. This is depth psychology. This is mindset transformation. This is the journey to know thyself. If the search for self-awareness speaks to you, if you've ever wondered why you feel stuck in certain roles, or why your emotional reactions sometimes surprise even you, then subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with us. Because this journey doesn't just explain you, it helps you reclaim yourself. Imagine that within every human being live 12 timeless characters, not literal people, but inner patterns of motivation, fear, desire, and purpose. These are the Jungian archetypes, universal identities that live in our collective subconscious, influencing how we think, feel, and act, whether we recognize them or not. They're older than your memories, wiser than your conscious mind, and they appear everywhere, in myths, films, dreams, marketing, and your daily choices. What are Jungian archetypes? Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist and founder of analytical psychology, introduced the idea of archetypes as recurring unconscious motifs, primordial images and storylines embedded deep in the human psyche. Jung believed these archetypes are universal, shared across cultures and time. They help shape our sense of self, our roles in society, and how we respond to emotional challenges. You don't choose your archetype the way you choose an outfit. You live it, often unknowingly, as part of your psychological DNA. These archetypes are the invisible threads pulling at the fabric of your choices. The 12 most common archetypes. Brief overview. The innocent seeks safety and happiness, fears punishment and abandonment. Motto, free to be you and me. The orphan, everyman, craves belonging and acceptance, fears rejection and isolation. Motto, all men and women are created equal. The hero desires to prove worth through courage and action, fears weakness or failure. Motto: where there's a will, there's a way. The caregiver lives to help others, nurture and protect, fears selfishness. Motto: love your neighbor as yourself. The explorer values freedom and adventure, fears conformity and inner emptiness. Motto: don't fence me in. The rebel, outlaw, desires revolution, change, or revenge, fears powerlessness or being controlled. Motto: rules are meant to be broken. The lover craves intimacy and connection, fears being unloved or alone. Motto: I only have eyes for you. The creator yearns to create meaning, beauty, and structure, fears mediocrity. Motto: if you can imagine it, it can be done. The jester lives for joy, humor, and living in the moment, fears boredom or being irrelevant. Motto: you only live once. The sage pursues truth and knowledge, fears ignorance or deception. Motto: the truth will set you free. The magician seeks transformation and spiritual growth, fears unintended consequences. Motto: I make things happen. The ruler desires control and order, fears chaos or losing power. Motto: power isn't everything, it's the only thing. Archetypes in pop culture and literature. Think of Harry Potter as the hero Yoda, as the sage Harley Quinn, as the jester and rebel Elsa, Frozen, as the magician and orphan Katniss Everdeen, as the hero and outlaw Tony Stark, as creator, jester, and ruler. These characters captivate us, not just because of their stories, but because they mirror archetypes inside of us. You're not just watching them, you're seeing aspects of yourself played out on screen. Have you ever felt torn between duty and freedom, or struggled to be both loved and independent? That's not just confusion, that's archetypal conflict. We don't just have one archetype. Most people have a dominant archetype and several supporting ones, and often they're in psychological tension, fighting for control over your values, choices, and identity. Understanding your archetypes is the first step towards self-awareness. The next step is seeing them in action. We walk into every room carrying invisible scripts. Some make us helpers, others make us warriors. But the most dangerous ones are the ones we don't realize we're following. Jungian archetypes aren't passive. They act through you, influencing your relationships, self-esteem, conflicts, and even the types of jobs or partners you attract. It's not fate, it's patterned identity. And the more unconscious it is, the more power it has over you. Archetypes in relationships. Let's say you're drawn to people who need saving. You constantly give, fix, nurture, even when it hurts. This may not be your personality. It may be your caregiver archetype running the show. Or maybe you push people away, crave solitude, and pride yourself on independence. That might not be wisdom. It could be the explorer. Archetype fearing entrapment. The fights we repeat, the people we chase, the roles we fall into. They often emerge not from who we are, but from who we think we have to be. Identifying your dominant archetype, ask yourself, what do I fear most? Rejection, chaos, insignificance? What drives me? Helping, achieving, understanding, creating? Which characters in fiction or myth do I identify with or despise? Your dominant archetype often emerges during key moments of stress, passion, or transformation. It's not just what you do, it's what you do when it really matters. Archetypes aren't fixed labels, they're lenses. And once you know the lens, you can finally see the frame. Archetypes as mirrors for self-awareness. Self-discovery isn't always light and clarity. Sometimes it's shadow and contradiction. For example, a ruler may secretly fear failure and micromanage everything. A lover may become dependent and lose their sense of self. A sage may use knowledge to avoid emotional intimacy. A jester might hide trauma behind humor. These are the shadow sides of each archetype. And recognizing them is the gateway to emotional intelligence. This is what therapists mean when they talk about unconscious motivations. Understanding your archetype means seeing both your light and your darkness, and not confusing either for the whole truth. She closed the journal, breath shaky, her thoughts circling an old memory that now looked different, like a puzzle piece had just snapped into place. "If this speaks to you," she whispered, "then leave a trace, a comment, a thought, a sign, before the silence becomes permanent." This is your moment. Like, comment, subscribe, engage, and maybe, just maybe, you'll uncover the pattern that's been shaping you all along. You are not your archetype, but you may have been living as one for a long time. The question is, will you keep playing the role, or will you become the author of your own narrative? In the next section, we go beyond the mind, into everyday systems where archetypes shape our jobs, purchases, stories, and culture without us even noticing. You think you chose the product, but the product may have chosen you because it knew the story you needed to believe. Jungian archetypes don't just influence your inner life, they're used to shape the world around you, especially in the stories you consume and the products you buy. That soda you grabbed, that political figure you trust, that Netflix show you binge, they're all speaking in archetypal language. Archetypes in marketing and branding brands are built not just on products, but on identity projection. Marketers use archetypes to make you feel something beyond logic, a kind of resonance. Nike taps into the hero archetype: victory, challenge, grit. Just do it. Apple channels the creator and rebel: innovation, thinking different. Think different. Dove activates the caregiver: softness, nurturing, self-acceptance, real beauty. Harley-Davidson: pure outlaw energy, freedom, rebellion, anti-establishment. This isn't manipulation, it's psychological storytelling. These archetypes let you feel, "That's me," before you ever read the tagline. We don't buy the brand, we buy the identity the brand allows us to step into. Archetypes in art and literature, from Shakespeare to Star Wars, archetypes shape every timeless narrative. The hero's journey is built on the hero, sage, mentor, and shadow archetypes. Fairy tales explore the innocent, ruler, and magician. Tragedies often pit the lover against the outlaw or the jester against existential despair. Even fan-favorite characters contain layered archetypes. Batman, this orphan. Ruler and outlaw Frodo Baggins, Mr. Innocent, explorer hero Daenerys Targaryen, ruler magician, shadow. When these stories grip you, it's because they mirror your own internal drama. You're not just watching, you're remembering. Something archetypal. Archetypes in therapy and self-understanding. Therapists trained in depth psychology, Jungian analysis, or internal family systems, IFS, often explore inner archetypes as a framework for healing. Examples: a person struggling with boundaries may be trapped in the caregiver. Someone with explosive anger may be acting from a wounded warrior or ruler. A depressed client might be over-identifying with the orphan or victim archetype. By identifying these roles and bringing them into awareness, you stop being run by the archetype and begin to dialogue with it. You don't kill the archetype. You learn to integrate it, to choose when to let it lead and when to lovingly say, "Not today." This is the foundation of shadow work, emotional healing, and personal growth psychology. You are not one self. You are a constellation of selves, some hidden, some wounded, all waiting to be heard. When you see archetypes not as cages but as characters, you unlock something powerful: the ability to change roles, to let go of inherited scripts, to become someone new. An archetype unacknowledged is a prison. An archetype integrated is a path to power. We began this journey by discovering the masks we wear, the roles written into us by collective unconsciousness, childhood wounds, and cultural myths. But now the question becomes, can you choose a different role? Can you rewrite your inner script? The answer, yes, but only when you see the story first. Breaking free from limiting archetypes, each archetype has a shadow side, an unconscious, unbalanced version that distorts our identity and locks us into predictable suffering. Examples: the hero becomes a martyr, addicted to conflict and unable to rest. The caregiver becomes resentful, always giving, never receiving. The ruler becomes a tyrant, controlling out of fear. The lover becomes lost, defining self-worth through others. These aren't just emotional quirks. They're signs that the archetype is running you, instead of you running it. Awareness is the break in the loop. Reflection is the tool. Choice is the door. Embracing multiple archetypes. You're not just one archetype. You're a mythological mosaic. Within you might live, a jester who helps you laugh through pain, a sage that guides you toward wisdom, a magician awakening your intuition, a rebel who fights for your boundaries, and yes, a shadow who hides your truth. Jung called this individuation. Undo the process of integrating all aspects of yourself to become whole. It's not about becoming something new. It's about remembering all that you are. Using archetypes as tools for change, you can use archetypes in real, practical ways. In journaling, ask yourself, what archetype showed up in me today? Who did I ignore? In relationships, ask, am I reacting as the hero or the orphan? Am I loving as the lover or controlling as the ruler? In therapy, use archetypal language to understand inner conflicts and patterns. Goals, channel the explorer to take risks. The sage to plan, the creator to imagine, the hero to act. Archetypes aren't identities, they're allies, if you choose to meet them with awareness. When you name the pattern, you reclaim the power. What if you created your own archetypal self-portrait, a journal page with your dominant archetype, your shadow, your aspirational self, the archetype you avoid but need, the one that has ruled your life without permission? Try this exercise. Name 3 archetypes that define your present. Name 1 that reflects your pain or shadow. Name 2 that you wish to embody more. Then ask, what would my life look like if I consciously chose to shift? What if you created your own archetypal self-portrait, a journal page with your dominant archetype, your shadow, your aspirational self, the archetype you avoid but need, the one that has ruled your life without permission? Try this exercise. Name 3 archetypes that define your present. Name 1 that reflects your pain or shadow. Name 2 that you wish to embody more. Then ask, what would my life look like if I consciously chose to shift? You've walked through myth and mirror, past the masks, and into the mind beneath the mind. But this isn't the end, because archetypes don't disappear once seen. They evolve with you. They become the raw material of transformation. This is your invitation to keep exploring. Tools for ongoing exploration. Build your archetypal self-portrait. Start with a journal. Write out, my dominant archetype is, my shadow archetype is, the one I avoid but need is, the archetype that defines who I'm becoming is. 2, practice archetypal reflection daily. Before bed or after conflict, ask, which archetype was I living today? Was I choosing or reacting? Use archetypes in therapy or coaching. Mention them in sessions. Let your therapist or coach help you balance the roles within you. Revisit stories you love, watch films, read novels. Now ask, which archetypes are at play? Why am I drawn to them? What are they awakening in me? Explore archetypes in others. Use them as a tool for empathy. See beyond behavior into the emotional story behind it. Embrace the journey of inner transformation. This journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about removing what never belonged and returning to who you've always been, a human being, woven from myth, forged by story. capable of rewriting their role at any moment. You're not broken. You've just been cast in a role too small for the soul you carry. If this journey sparked something in you, leave a trace, a comment, a thought, a reflection. Share this story with someone who needs to remember who they are beneath the surface. Subscribe for more explorations of the mind, the myth, and the meaning of being. And remember, we're not here to label you. We're here to liberate you. You've reached the end, or so it seems. But the mind doesn't forget what it's seen or what it's questioned. These archetypes won't vanish now. They'll whisper in your choices, call out in your dreams, reveal themselves in the next story that moves you or breaks you. You've begun the journey of archetypal transformation, not to become someone else, but to reclaim your own name. If this voice has found you in the dark, follow it deeper into our psychology playlist linked below. And if you feel brave, comment with the one archetype you believe has shaped your life the most. Because in the end, the greatest transformation isn't changing who we are, it's finally remembering it. Welcome to the story beneath the story, and welcome to yourself. See you in the next video.